Hello everybody, I'm Steve and welcome to Greenside Up. Now winter, there's not a lot going on the plot, and it's a good time for organising for the coming season, and that's generally what I tend to do. I have been making some purchases to enable me to do things which will make life easier for next year. So I've got some footage I shot yesterday and I'll show you that now. Now for a few years now I've said that I'm not going to grow potatoes in the ground this year or next year, and I'm going to grow them in pots or containers only and not bother with the ground. And there's a reason for that. We're a very wet county here up in Cumbria. You know, as they say, no rain, no lakes, and it is the English Lake District. So that's accepted and expected for it to be wet. And in sort of March, where you want to prepare the ground and get ready to put potatoes in, and I normally get mine in at the end of March, the ground can be absolutely drenched. So there's a whole rigmarole involved in putting plastic down, drying the ground out so that I can dig it over in time to get the potatoes in. And that's been one of the main reasons. And so I'm not doing it. I'm not growing potatoes in the ground anymore. I'm saying it again, and I'm saying it on camera. And you know, if I actually plant some in the ground, you can say, nah, you said you weren't going to do it. Well, the reason is I've bought a lot of these 30-litre pots. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the person that brought this to me was a lad called Dan from Allotment Diary. I first saw this, going back a lot of years now, when he first posted it, and I thought, what a brilliant idea, and I gave that a try, and I've been trying it and running tests ever since, and I've just bought 50 of these, so I'm heavily invested in growing in pots now. So that's what I'll be doing. I've now got enough to do it, and what I do is very similar to Dan, is I grow the potatoes in the pots and I bury them about this far up in the ground. This is so that the roots can escape through these holes at the bottom and get the extra moisture and the extra nutrients from the soil underneath. So I will be placing these on top of no dig beds so that they can get straight into that ground underneath and do well. I will enlarge these holes a bit. There's a lot to do. There's 50 to get through, as I say. There's another stack here behind me. And but I just wanted to mention about the content of this. And what I do use is I use compost, and I'll use it for about 4 or 5 years before I replace the whole lot. So it becomes not so much of a drain on the budget. Yes, fair enough, this year there'll be a fair bit of money invested in compost, but I will put some manure in it and I will put some feed in there, and I generally put a handful of bloodfish and bone in every bucket. But when it comes to putting the tubers in, what you'll see many people do is they'll put 2 in, sort of here and here if you like, after a few inches, and then they'll cover them in compost and then put 2 in at the other side. So the first 2 might be at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, and the next 2 will be a few inches up and they'll be at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Now what I found from my tests with various size containers and various amounts of tubers in those containers, that this is the ideal size. These are 30-litre pots. If you get any bigger, you don't get an increase in harvest. I don't think so at all. Maybe a couple of pound in difference, but for the extra compost and the extra size containers you need and the extra space they take, it doesn't really make sense to do that. Best to keep with these 30-litre pots. And I also stick with 2 tubers per pot, and I average anywhere between 6 and 10 pound of crop per pot. Now if I put 4 tubers in, I will still get 6 to 10 pound of tubers per pot. They will just be smaller. So I prefer to go 2 tubers in. It's half the cost for the tubers putting them in, and I get bigger potatoes from them. This pot will still be rammed when I come to lift them in July, and I lift them in July chiefly because I want to avoid as much blight as possible. So that's what I do with those, and that's, you know, they're the reasons why I'm going for it. It's so easy, and I can start these really early in the polytunnel. Yeah, 50 pots, it's a lot of space in the polytunnel, but I am putting another tunnel up. So in that early part of the year, early March, I can get them started in early March, under cover, and then sort of the end of March into April, whenever the ground is ready or the weather is ready for them, they can go out and be buried, and it's a smaller job. And it's the same come harvest time. It's less of a hassle to dig them up, because you're not having to dig them up. You can earth them up by just putting more compost in the pot. You're not having to dig them up, you just empty the pot out. I mean, it's so simple, and I think, well, why wouldn't you do it? So I have gone to the expense of buying these. Now, I bought these from an online company. They advertise on eBay, called Elixir Garden Supplies, and I've spoken to the guys there. I haven't organised any special deals, but they have said that if you call them, they can organise special deals if you want to buy a lot of a certain product. So it might be worth, if you're wanting to buy some of these, clubbing together with some friends or people on your allotment or a couple of neighbours. If you want to go this way and grow in pots, see how many you want to buy and phone them up and get a better quote than what they're advertising online. If anyone wants to know in particular what I paid for this 50, then please do use the email that's down in the description, and I'll let you know, and you can go from there with Elixir. I'm fairly certain that they will honour the same deal for you. So there we go. That's why I grow in these, and I'm not growing in the ground anymore. Honest, I'm not. There we go. So that's how I'm growing my potatoes this next year. I'm not growing any in the ground, because all the palaver of the digging the ground, the earthing up, drying it out, rotivating it to get it to a good tilt to planting, because I'm on clay soil here and the rain batters it down to rock hard, ready for spring. So it always needs to be rotivated, and it's such a time consuming thing. It's not so much the work that bothers me. I'm not afraid of hard work, as you'll probably know if you've watched the channel for long enough. I'm definitely not afraid of hard work, but it's the time involved, and I think that's the key issue with planting in the ground. So growing in the pots is going to save an inordinate amount of time, meaning I can give better attention to the rest of my plants. So that's why I do that. Big shout out to all the new subscribers out there. Hello and welcome, and thank you for coming along. It's much appreciated you joining. I hope you're enjoying the content. Please let me know in the comments below if there's anything you'd like to see, if there's anything you're not happy with, or if you think there's an issue or a problem somewhere or something I could do a bit better, then do let me know, because everything I generate is for you anyway. So that said, thanks again for joining. If you're not a subscriber, just hit the red button. It's just down there. Select the notifications as well, and which is the little bell. It's just next to the button. Select that and select all, and then when I post some new content, you'll be one of the first to see it and look and watch it. So that's it for today, really. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you in a day or so's time. Take care now. Bye bye.